Hi, Ludo.
Hello, Lee. How are you?
Hi, everybody.
Where are you in this moment?
I'm in a city called Ningbo, which is in China at the moment. About 2.5 hours by train from Shanghai.
Oh, okay. Well, what time is that
I think
there
it's just
now?
hit, midnight. Very
Okay.
late.
Wow. Okay. Let's
Yeah,
keep this in 30 minutes. So you
no
also
worries. No, I have another call after this, so I'm
wow.
on all time zones at the moment.
Okay.
Brilliant.
So let's start. Hello, everybody. Let's wait a moment since the people have to join. But
Oh, yes.
yeah, Lee, it's a pleasure having you here. So thank you for your availability and also at this time. You
No,
are
thank you for having us.
you are
How
a
do we know
hard
if people
worker.
are how do we know if people are joining? I can't see. Where do you see that on this? It's quite a cool system, this, but how do you
Yeah,
see if people?
actually, I think we can see it. I think maybe Felix will tell us something. But
Ah,
yeah,
I'm assuming it should be here.
top corner.
Really?
But yeah, I'm not seeing nothing, Felix, neither.
Right, yeah, currently there's around 120 people that have joined, but this space is also recorded, so we'll make sure to distribute it to everybody who joins in late or fails to join today.
Okay, fantastic.
Thank you. So let's
Great.
start. Yeah, since there is already an audience there. Okay, let's restart again. So hi everyone, welcome to this space. Okay, this is a space that Bricken always organize when we have interesting projects to launch. Today we are with Lee King, that is the CEO of Hydro Wind Energy, and yeah, the token that they are creating with us is called HWE. But let's recap a little bit what Bricken does, so everybody is aware. I'm sure we have new audience, new people here listening to us today. So just to make it simple and short, we are an active player in the RWA space, so real world asset tokenization. Well, Bricken has his own utility token as well. And what we have been building during the last year, and we are live since last year. Actually, we already um, passed the first year of the our DApp live on the blockchain. So yes, what we have been creating is basically the Shopify, but for tokenization. So everyone out there that is listening to us with an interesting project can now create a minutes, a token, create an offering in another minute, and then create a unique landing page directly from our dashboard in order to launch an offer, create an investment vehicle related with your project, where everybody from wherever in the world can invest easily in a few clicks. So we facilitate you basically access to capital, okay, and we simplify the management of all these investors out there that will participate in the project. Okay, so this is a brief introduction about Bricken. If you need any other information or if you have um, an interesting, outstanding project out there where you're working on, you can come to us and talk with our specialist and know more about our solution. Okay, so again, welcome, Lee. Thanks to be with us today. And
Thanks for having us.
please, let's do a quick introduction about yourself, what you do, who are you, your background, so we have a
Fantastic.
clear idea about that.
Yeah, my name is Lee King. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Hydro Wind Energy. We're a technology company operating in the renewable energy space, very specifically offshore wind and also seawater desalination at scale. We've got three core products. The first product is a disruptive technology that harnesses wind offshore in deep waters cost effectively. It's also combined with mechanical based energy storage. We're currently at technology readiness level 6, moving to 7, which ultimately means that we've already built the systems, integrated it, tested it, and we're moving very close to actually testing it offshore in a real offshore environment. The same technology can also be used for seawater desalination at scale to turn seawater into fresh water. and we're looking at reaching getting a world record actually in terms of the cost per cubic meter of desalinated water. We're looking really around the 15 to 20 cents per cubic meter. If you look at this, what desalination costs anywhere in the world, it's around between 50 cents to $1.50. Just our prototype is already going to be achieving a world record. In addition to these two products, we also have a handheld seawater desalination device that we've started to commercialize. It's a small device that's manually powered and that turns seawater into fresh water. We've already launched the first version, the second version, and we're also working on the third version that we're launching before the end of this year to start really scaling it. Yeah, I mean, that's kind of the gist of the company. But keep in mind also, we want to also stress that what we're doing at the moment is equity tokenization. So we're going to be putting out there 3.25% of our diluted capital to kind of test the tokenization because we really believe in it. But yeah, I'm not sure what to add. There's a lot to add.
No, it's okay. It's okay. Yeah. I mean, let's go step by step. Let's talk a little bit more about your project. So you have these three different products. Okay.
Yeah.
You have a little device that is for retailer market. I assume
correct,
that is the one that you are already selling, no? Right. So
Yes,
you're already generating revenue with that.
yeah. So
How much?
it's
Because I know that you already passed the 1 million revenue. And
Yeah.
what is the business model there, for example? And what will
Yeah.
be the business model for the other project?
So this is it's a small device. It's the first time in history that that anyone's developed a handheld, manually powered device, low cost device. Because there is one that was developed in the mid '80s, but it's around $2,500 US. So this is the first time really that anyone's developed a low cost device. Initially, we developed it for the humanitarian sector, but it has, for example, anyone that is offshore, from sailors in the offshore marine sector, even in aviation, you need actually a desalinator on flight just in case there's an emergency landing and you land in the ocean. So we've managed to do that, and we've launched it already. And like I said, we've already exceeded over $1 million in sales. We've just launched, just in January, we launched version 2, which was kind of an improvement on the first version, more efficient. And we're also we're improving it, and we're going to be launching version 3 probably mid this summer. Our aim is really to scale this up to about 1 million units this year. 1 million units would generate over $50 million US. This obviously, if everything comes together, we're manufacturing these devices in China, and our business model really covers, direct. We have a website at quenchsea.world, so we're already selling direct to the direct to market. So people that are buying it currently are really generally sailors or people that are based, in the offshore environment, or also preppers, or people that have the ocean next to them and they want, an emergency device that can turn seawater into freshwater. And we're just about to also launch as well in Japan. You can imagine if there's an earthquake and there's it has an impact on access to fresh water. This can be a device that can be immediately used to turn seawater into freshwater. So yeah, that's kind of generally where we're at the moment with QuenchSea. It's called QuenchSea, the device. Yeah.
Okay, interesting. Yeah, I'm also super attracted by the other devices because I mean, if you guys, the audience, I mean, you check their website, you will see that they are really interesting. I mean, the design, it's really interesting. They are using renewable energy to desalinate water. So I mean, it's really, really awesome and interesting what they are doing. And actually, you are helping for a real problem because what you're doing is finding solutions for real world problems. So great. So the business model about the Quench is that, and what about the other devices, because they are bigger, so it's another order of magnitude, right?
Oh, for sure. Yeah. So that, when we're working energy and water, and energy, for people, it's power production or electricity production, but it's also combined with energy storage. So we're still kind of developing that technology. That technology hasn't been commercialized. So Quench is generating revenues. It's helping us. We've already kind of, raised over 2.7 million, and just a summary, raised over 2.7 million US dollars. And like I said, we've generated over $1 million just from sales of Quenchi. But the crown, or the jewel in the crown, is the offshore technology that we're developing. It's quite unique because it really needs to be deployed in deep waters. This is one of the big challenges globally of how can humanity harness wind offshore in deep waters. If you look at conventional wind turbines, the horizontal wind turbines currently deployed globally, they're limited to shallow waters of no more to 60-meter depth. And 80% of the world's wind resource is available offshore in deep waters, and this is ultimately what we're tapping into. Obviously, we still need infrastructure, like inter-array cables, substations, and an export cable to deliver it to shore. But we haven't commercialized that. This is what we're working on, but it could be a game changer for the 21st century in terms of lowering the cost of electricity, opening up access to deep sea offshore wind, providing energy storage, because our systems combine mechanical storage, because ultimately we use sea depth to store at height. Using blocks, we use mechanical storage to store the energy and release it on demand. It also kind of significantly lowers the cost of electricity to between $13 to $80 per megawatt hour. That's per unit of electricity. Wow. Compare that with offshore wind at the moment, you're talking in the region of about 130 to 250 US dollars. So it's some really significant, we're solving some really big challenges. And again, the same technology, offshore technology, can also be used for seawater desalination. And the way we're doing that is we're simply using pressure at a depth of between 300 to 400 meters, the hydrostatic pressure. We're using that to drive a reverse osmosis process. And then we're simply using wind to mechanically lift that to the surface. And we use sail barges to deliver it to shore. But this is, we're talking about, several thousand cubic meters per day. So that can, one of these systems could provide, an entire city of, say, 300,000 people with their daily water needs. So to give you the scale of it. But again, we're still developing that kind of technology, and we're hoping that within a year to 2 years, we can start commercializing it, because we have to validate it in a real environment. Then we've got to build a large-scale demonstrator to test it at scale. We've already built it, so but we haven't tested it offshore. We've tested it onshore. We've done the systems integration. Everything. So we're getting very close. And one of the reasons we're funding now is to fund the R&D to move it from TRL 6 to TRL 7 to very close to TRL 8. And we've achieved a lot in the last 3 years.
Exactly. It's a journey. You're already on TRL 6 to go to TRL 7. So you are almost there. It's end of the.
And I want to add, something, Ludo, that the type of technology we're developing. If you're working in energy or water, they normally have longer technology development cycles. So they take longer to commercialize because they're quite capital intensive. The R&D takes longer. Although we've condensed it, I think we've done quite well in terms of where we are at the moment. Obviously, there's loads of challenges. It's not, what we're doing is there's a lot of risks associated with it, no doubt. But we've had tremendous support. We've been also through the Shell, just to kind of a few things, the traction that we've built. So we've been through the Shell Startup Engine. We've been through the AWS Clean Energy Accelerator. We're part of the the PricewaterhouseCoopers Future 50, the UAE Future 100, the top 100 startups by the World Economic Forum. I know some people don't like the World Economic Forum, but it is one of those accolades that we've received. and Innovate from Masdar in the UAE. We're also part of their innovation program. So we've done kind of, we've achieved a few, significant milestones in our journey to where we are here.
Lee, tell me in a tweet, why your project is unique, and what may make it really attractive.
Well, one of the things I do that I've what Bill Gates was once asked, he was on an interview, there's about maybe a year and a half ago, or maybe over 2 years ago, he was online, and people were asking him a few questions, and he said that clean tech is going to be creating trillion. Well, he said he's going to be creating a Google, an Amazon, and a Microsoft, which ultimately means that clean tech is going to be producing trillion-dollar companies.
Sure.
And the space we are in at the moment is really based on the global transition to renewables. I think we've got a technology that really can be transformative for the 21st century, to really accelerate the global transition, but also lower the costs, because one of the most difficult things to do is to literally outcompete fossil fuel-based power generation. And that's ultimately where we're at. We believe we've got a solution now that isn't overly complicated. It's still wind, but it combines it with mechanical storage to solve some really very, very big challenges. And it can be used for seawater desalination to also solve the world's water crisis. Energy is a very big market. It's probably over around $20 trillion US. It's going to be close to this, according to the Minister of Energy, I think, or the head of the Department of Energy of the US. It's going to be double, I think, by 2050. So yeah, we're just solving two of maybe three of the biggest challenges of the 21st century: low cost clean electricity, grid scale energy storage, and also seawater desalination.
Awesome. Yeah, pretty clear. Thank you. So let's dive a little bit more about why you guys, you and your team, choose tokenization as a complementary funding and alternative way of funding, and what led you here, basically.
Yeah, very good question. At the moment, what we're trying to do is actually kind of test it. So we're not going for the full company. We want to really kind of get a taste of what tokenization means. But the idea is really the simplicity of it. If digitizing it, i.e., making it almost as accessible as having an Uber app where you can instantly be part of our journey. And one of the things that we wanted to do is that we've already done a CF Reg, which is a crowdfunding reg in the US. We did that. We did it also with Cedars, which was very successful. So we've already got a community of backers, and we just felt that we wanted to make it even more accessible and easier for people to come on board and join this, like pre-IPO, because I forgot to also mention that we have also a commitment from an institutional investor of 50 million euros. So it's about $54 million US for an IPO. And we've already reserved the NASDAQ ticker as well. But again, going back to tokenization, it's equity tokenizations we're talking about. It's just more accessible. It's more transparent. Anyone anywhere in the world with a wallet will have access 24/7 to these to our equity, and they don't need to go through intermediaries. One of the things that we've shied away, just going for an IPO, the amount of regulation surrounding that is just incredible. I mean, one of the things that we're looking at an IPO now, and it's going to cost between $500,000 US to $5 million US. And we're like, okay, but what if we bypass all that, and people anywhere in the and someone in the middle of China, or someone in the middle of in Texas or in New York or whatever it is, has a wallet, and they can immediately access our equity, in tokenized form, but also have the security of it. So we're talking about reliability, accessibility, transparency as well. I think that's very important because it's on a ledger that everyone can see, and being on the blockchain as well. I know there's some kind of sometimes negative associations with crypto, but there is still positives there, because we've got, some people are like, yes, this is amazing. I think you guys should be doing it, but some people are questioning it as well. But I think it's bound to happen. And the reality is, if you look at some of the big institutional investors, like you guys were talking, like we talked about it last week, I think it was at BlackRock or something like that. They've already started, tokenized some really huge institutional funds. And it's the contracts you have, below this token, there's a contract there that's very transparent and very clear of how it's operated. And then it avoids the intermediaries and transactional costs. So just to give you an example, I mean, every time we have to file anything in the US, because we're the holding companies in the US, we've got to pay lawyers like just ridiculous amounts of money just to get things done. Like, to file certain things, you got to pay $1,000. I mean, like, okay, $1,000 here, $1,000 again, and another $1,000. So it kind of adds up, and it's like, okay, these are all transaction costs that are not really going towards the company in any way, shape, or form. It's another admin cost that we would like to avoid. But also, we want to open up the market. I mean, we feel like, we're working on something that's quite unique, and we want people to be part of what we're doing. Yeah.
No, and I think that's great, and you described it really well, because even you have a product that is solving a problem, not a company problem, but is solving a problem that we all will face one day, probably, right? So yeah, that's something that really hit each other anytime. And yeah, about this, I also wanted to add that you were right. I mean, tokenization, it's transparency. And if you cited the quote of Bill Gates, I'm gonna cite the quote of Larry Finn, no, from BlackRock, that is saying that basically tokenization for finance is a killer app, exactly as it was email for internet, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, that's why they are finally jumping in now after the Bitcoin ETF approval and whatever. They are finally testing this technology and using themselves as well. But as you said, I mean, it's perfect for opening up. I mean, all this investment opportunity that before was just restricted, to just a few of us, let's say. And then now everybody can really participate from all over the world from their phone. I mean, there are not restrictions, and even for you, you have the total transparency and access to all your investors, because you know exactly who will be investing. You can contact directly with them. They can buy directly from you. They can resell directly to you or to other peers out there, part of the community. So it's really, really interesting, especially if you are projecting the company for an IPO in the future. So it's gonna be really interesting. So one other question, Lee. I assume that you scouted many platforms, and at the end you ended, choosing us as Bricken. What got your attention the most?
I think in terms of Bricken, yeah. I mean, you guys have been helpful from day one, to be honest. But remember, we've never been through this process. Remember when we talked about it initially, we just wanted someone to kind of hold our hands really and say, listen, because it's a space that we're unfamiliar with, even though that we've done crowdfunding before, but just kind of direct equity on Cedars or Republic. Tokenization is a different space. It's on the blockchain. We also needed to, someone that's familiar. And you guys had the token suite. You had everything in place, and you were patient with us as well in terms of, because we were thinking Ethereum, and then we're thinking of Avalanche. And the reason why we chose Avalanche, after we did kind of our due diligence, is that it's the energy use is minimal compared to Ethereum. That was one of the things. But yeah, I think it's because of really the support. You guys had the complete token suite that we were looking for. And the support, and we firmly believe we like you guys. I think you guys are very promising in terms of what you guys are doing and where you're moving to. So you guys might IPO before us. I don't know.
Yeah, we will see. For sure, we will tokenize as well, and then we will go maybe for an IPO.
But one of the things, Ludo, one of the things that that we were discussing internally, I don't know, will tokenization make exchanges obsolete?
I don't think so. Why? Because I mean, it could happen, but it's a legal matter, you know. Because nowadays you have decentralized exchanges, right? So it's an algorithm, automatic one with the liquidity pool. So you put the pair USDT and in this case your shares, and you
Yeah.
could launch a liquidity pool about your shares. Our token already support and limit the buying and sell, okay, from the individuals. So if you are whitelisted and KYC'd and whitelisted, then I can receive the token. I can use all the rights, you know, exercise all the rights on those tokens. If you
Yeah.
buy, let's say for someone else, and you send it to someone else, so a third party individual, then this individual cannot move those tokens from his wallet, and he has no rights on those tokens. Why? Because you don't know who is the purchaser, and legally you need it. Okay, so let's go a little bit further. So if you have a pool of investors or potential buyers already whitelisted and KYC, you could build, once you IPO, your liquidity pool where there are your shares
Yeah,
against
but that's
the
gonna. I believe
token.
that's gonna be solved. That's gonna be solved, Ludo, because right now you can get. That's gonna be solved because you can do that now by registering. If you have like your Gmail, get authorized by Gmail, and
Exactly.
then after that you can just do with a picture of the person, or if they want, they have to put their ID, and that's done. So I don't think this. That's not a huge. I don't. I can't see that being a massive obstacle to. But once you have that, because if once that legal, you remove that legal, it's you don't need it. Why would you need an
Uh,
exchange if you got the liquidity? Right there, someone goes from one wallet to the next.
that's totally true. But remember that when you open a liquidity pool, you have to put your own liquidity there. But yeah, we were this. I mean, in this moment, we just described a little bit what is the journey. Let's tell to the audience how is the journey. So basically, you can visit the HW Energy, the Hydro Wind Energy official website, and there is a banner up there sending you as well to the Brickkens store. Then you can go directly to the Brickkens store that is passing just by here, okay, down here. You can have access to all the information, to the white paper, to read fully what is the project about and what they are building. And then you have access to the legal documents. So there is a subscription agreement, so you can exactly know before of investing what you are signing, what you are accepting, and what are your rights, what will be your rights with those tokens in the future. Okay, and this is important. Then you have just to sign up, pass the KYC. Again, you can do it from laptop, from a mobile. There is no restriction there. As Lisa mentioned, I mean, it's just a movement of the face with an active camera. You upload your DNE, proof of address, and you declare where your funds are coming from. Once you have done there, you ask to in the page you request the whitelist, and once Lee accepts you, okay, you can directly invest in their project and purchase their shares, basically in a tokenized shape. Okay, so basically this is the simple process to invest. Nowadays, even on Bricken is allowed the bank-to-bank payment, so you can already transfer. Let's say that you guys have no crypto, so you can directly invest in sending the money to the bank, some bank account of the company, Hydro Wind Energy in this case, and then they can register on chain that transaction. So you just need a wallet to sign up and be waitlisted, and then make like a simple bank transfer. So this is a new feature that is available on the Bricken platform. And let's go a little bit further, because we already took our half a time, half an hour, so we can take 10 more minutes so to go to the finish. What are the future plans of HW Energy? I mean, we talked about IPO, we talked about I mean, tokenization, of course, in this moment. You already run previously some fundraising. So another thing, they are attracting all those investors from before already
Yeah.
on the tokenization as well. this is also an interesting thing. So basically, what are the future plans for hydro wind energy and for the future investors, because they will be shareholder?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I think people consider like when is a good, what options in terms of exits are available for investors. So, we could potentially be bought out. There could be an M&A activity. They could be the IPO is definitely a good exit point. But in terms of what we want to achieve as a company for the offshore technologies, we're trying to get to what they call technology readiness level 9. As fast as possible, which means that we have built a full-scale demonstrator, validated it, that it's bankable, that we can move towards commercialization with it. Obviously, this type of technology we don't commercialize ourselves. We have to have partners. So we've already kind of started, at this stage now, we've already got a couple of partners on board and potential partners as well. I mean, in total, we've got about 12 partners to scale it and to commercialize it, because we would obviously need to raise debt for this infrastructure. The other thing is really to scale Quenchsea. I think we're quite lucky that we've got sales coming in now from Quenchsea, but we really want to scale that to 1 million units. People may think it's a lot, but it isn't. If you think of the scale of the problem, over 2.2 billion people worldwide don't have access to clean water. It's probably one of the one of the biggest challenges, I say, of the 21st century. Just people wherever they are, they don't have access to clean water. I was traveling in India, and just so sometimes the water there is this. Certain cities are already getting close to literally where the people need to move out of the city because there's no water. You can't have a city if you don't have water.
No.
Any form water, everything relies on water. If you think about it, even industrial activity. So you've got agriculture, and one of the things as well, it's very important that 70% of also the water usage is actually used for agriculture, for cattle, livestock, and for agriculture, and then the rest is used for humans. So we want to be in a position as well where we've scaled that, and then that will generate a certain amount of revenue, and hopefully we'll invest that back into the company. But at some point, obviously, if we've still got the tokens and they're still part of the company, then the idea is to start paying dividends to really kind of let it grow in terms of the capital appreciation. And I know we didn't mention it, but the tokens that we're launching now, it's not a huge amount. We want to experiment and see how the market reacts to it. So we're launching in tranches, 3.2% of the 3.25, I believe, percent of the diluted capital of the company.
Yeah, no, really interesting. Some another data that I would want to add. I mean, let's remember all of us that on the whole, full amount of water on the planet, only 3% is drinkable, and 90% is in the oceans. So this is the the site of the problem. Yeah. And for example, here we are based in Barcelona, and we are suffering, I don't know how to say it in English, but really drought. It's dry,
Drought.
Yeah, exactly, the drought, since almost 1 year already. And
really?
In some public gyms, you are not allowed to have a shower because there is no water. So we are in Barcelona, first world, Europe or whatever, and by the sea, but still with this problem, right? So no, I totally see it. Okay, just to wrap it up a little bit, last question: what is your target investor for this? Who would like you to attract? I let you go for it.
Yeah, obviously investors come in all shapes and sizes. So it's always a risky investment. We're a startup, so we've been operating. It's good. We've had some success, but it's why we've had some people just do it because they want to support the vision that what we're trying to do in terms of the global transition. And some people obviously they want to return, or they feel that the company could do very well when it goes to an IPO. So we've built some momentum, and I think it could be, it could be huge. I don't want to put numbers. I mean, obviously we've got a valuation now, but by the time we get to IPO, it should be, by a magnitude of maybe 20 or 30, hopefully, and even more. But the spectrum is huge in terms of investors, because you get different investors. I mean, right now when we're talking about tokenization, there's a crypto guys that people that have invested in crypto, which is very different. The very different dynamic. So a lot of them are quite young. But it's mixed. I don't know. I mean, I really don't know what but we have also conventional. So we've raised with conventional, people that are interested in crowdfunding. They want to invest in startups. They believe in it, because this crowdfunding has only been available to the average investor only for the last maybe 4 or 5 years. Before that, the regulations weren't there, depending on where you are in the world. And this is one of the things. I mean, we don't really like all these regulations around what market. We're in a globalized marketplace. It should be possible to buy shares wherever you are in the world. And people don't realize as well, one of the things that Revolut, Revolut.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. The European people that live in Europe, they probably are familiar with Revolut, which is a banking app that's kind of transformed the whole banking experience. But now you can also buy shares. But in order for them to do that, it's just a process. The intermediaries in between to make this possible is just a nightmare. It's like if you look at the underlying legal side of it, it's an absolute nightmare. And we were saying we want to avoid all this. So I think with tokenization, we can potentially avoid that and make it more accessible. But again, back to your question, it varies the type of investor that really invests. But it comes with its risks. I mean, people need to understand that we are a startup. The huge risks associated. But also the other side of it is the bigger the risks, the higher the reward potentially if we succeed in what we're doing.
Yeah, no. So I wanted just to know and point out that they are basically opening different way to invest in HW Energy. So it's more for retailers on tokenization. If you are from US, you can bus to the Republic portal. If you are a VC or family office, you can directly jump in. If you are a potential partner that could be used in the future, these services, these devices, whatever, remember that tokenization is a good way to jump in order then to, get a little bit better conditions on the prices, whatever. So invest today to be part of that, in order to use it tomorrow.
Yeah.
This is also something that I usually push. Okay, so let's wrap it up. Lee, before to closing everything, do you want to add something? Do you want to launch a message? Do you want to make another statement?
I'm very grateful. I think for people taking the time to join us. I mean, we're doing some really exciting stuff. My recommendation is go see the white paper that we've built, which is really a pitch deck that we have on where you learn more about hw.soar, brickin.com. If you want, we get investments already. It's gone live as well with Republic. We've got 60 days, so we're starting to accelerate. It's kind of a limited. We're not going to be like I said, it's a limited amount that we're going to be raising, to test the market, and then take it from there. There is a couple of questions. I don't know if we needed to just skim through it and see if we could answer. Do you want to do that or not? Or that's our time.
Let's go. For example, Marcus Show, it's asking, what are all the different ways we can invest in WE?
I think we've just covered that. So if you go to Republic, there's a Republic that if you just Google Republic and our Hydrowind,
the biggest crowd lending platform in US. Then basically, who will invest in Republic then will get the token itself as well. And because for Lee, will be easier to manage all those investors by one platform. That is the Brickkens platform in this case. Then
and this covers and this covers also the regulations, because we're regulated by the Securities and Exchange Commission for that. So it's under CF what they call a CF reg. CF stands for crowdfunding. But obviously the other ones, the people that are familiar with tokenization and crypto and things like that, it's probably easier to do it through the token store, hwe.store.
Exactly.
Which is always, it's coming at the bottom there. What's the price? Well, that was a good point. So we're launching, it's going to be the same that it's on Republic. The share price at the moment is $11.60. It's common shares, B common shares, that they have the same rights as anyone investing through Republic. So we're going to be very transparent there. Yes, thanks for staying awake. Thank you as well, Mr. Money. We've got someone, Mr. Money, on here. Very well, really impressive. You're still going, grinding. It's still, yes. Thank you very much, Marcus. I've got another call in about an hour and a half. I'm absolutely exhausted, but it needs to be done. What is your unique value proposition, Mr. Money? Ultimately we're covering several things. If you look at, for example, the CoinC is really the world's only low-cost handheld manually powered desalination device. Nothing like this exists. We're the only one that actually developed anything like that. So we have a first mover advantage. We've already, like I said, we've got a track record. Our accounts are audited. So you can actually see what we've achieved so far. And the other unique proposition is really developing low-cost clean electricity, providing grid services, on-demand power, opening up access to deep-sea offshore wind for the water at scale, lowering the cost per cubic meter of desalinated water. And like I said earlier at the start of this session, that we're going to be hitting a world record. So that hopefully will pop out at the right time. Could it happen that it also found a charity? Yes, in terms of a charity offshoot, we already working with some charities for CoinC, and we do have a potential large contract with the United Nations for CoinC. So they're testing it, and what we want to do is give them the third version that's going to be easier to use. Sounds great. I think we've covered everything. Ibarta sustainability.
Yeah,
yes,
I think it's already covered. Yeah, I didn't have the comments open. That's why I was losing there.
Yeah, I was looking at the private chat. I got confused there.
Yeah. Okay.
Fantastic.
So if you guys, out there, if you have any other question, I'm sure you can add Lee on LinkedIn or Twitter, and he will reply to you. You can reach them out through the website or exactly from the token store. Down there in the page, there are the contacts. So I'm sure they will get back to you and giving you more information. But again, all the information is in the white paper. The legal information is the legal document. So everything is on the token store, and that's what we are trying to do. It's giving you all the information in the easiest way, actually. So wrapping up, thank you, Lim. Lee King from Hydro Wind Energy again, and thanks for staying awake till this time with us. Thank you, audience, to be with us today and to make this chat interesting, and thank you for your interest in it. Let's meet, of course, the next time, and bye-bye. Have a good night.
Thanks, guys. Thank you, guys. Much appreciated. Take care. Bye.